Good afternoon. I'm David Talbot, Managing Director and Head of Research here at Red Cloud Securities. We continue with our afternoon session today with Skyharbour. We welcome Jordan Trimble. He's President and CEO. He's going to speak to us today. Skyharbour is a project generator. It's looking to expand on its recent Maverick East basement discovery. So with that, Jordan, you've got about 15 minutes, and then we'll have a 5-minute Q&A at the end of the session. Attendees, please feel free to ask your questions. The Q&A link is below. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks, Dave, and thanks everyone for participating and taking the time here. We were having some technical difficulties, so excuse the format here, but I think we got it sorted out. Just had to change computers. So I'll get right into it. We only have about 15 minutes, and I want to provide a few minutes for Q&A. For those of you not familiar with Skyharbour Resources, we are a high-grade uranium exploration and early-stage development company. We have 6 projects scattered throughout the Athabasca Basin in northern Saskatchewan. We've been busy accumulating these projects over the last 8 years. Go over to the disclaimer here. So I implore everyone to take a read through this on your own time. So people, timing, and projects. These are the 3 core pillars of Skyharbour Resources. People, so management team, technical team, and the partner companies that we have. So Denison Mines and Urano are 2 strategic partners that we have at Skyharbour Resources. Denison's one of our larger shareholders, and Urano is a project partner. So just getting into the people. So you'll see my name there at the top. I'm the president and CEO of Skyharbour Resources. Hold on one second here.
Looks like we have a little bit of technical difficulty. Hopefully he comes back in just a moment, so please stand by. We have a backup presentation. We're just going to give Jordan a moment to log back in here. Okay, I think we have Jordan back. Jordan, how's your volume?
Okay.
Oh,
Hey there. Can you hear me okay?
okay, there we go.
Really sorry about that. Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties here. So I'm probably just going to have to skip ahead to a couple of slides. It seems like it's delayed and it's going in and out of the slides here, but I'll work my way through it as best I can. So again, people, timing, and projects, people. So I run the company. I came in about 8 years ago to run the company. I come from an entrepreneurial and financial background. I was doing corporate development for a gold company called Bayfield Ventures before it was sold to New Gold. I then took over as the president and CEO of Skyharbour Resources. I partnered up with my head geologist, Rick Kazmersky. And Rick, I'm not sure if you can see the slide here, but Rick's our head geologist, 40-year veteran in the Athabasca Basin. He's credited with several major discoveries. And more importantly for us, he ran a company called J&R Resources, which made the discovery at our high-grade flagship Moore Lake project back in the early 2000s. Rick brings, as I said, 40 years of experience. He was the exploration manager at Cameco previous to that. Dave Cates, who a lot of you are familiar with. Dave's the president and CEO of Denison Mines. They're one of our largest strategic shareholders. Paul Matizik is an advisor to the company, joined us a few years back. He's well known in the industry. He built and sold Energy Metals for $1.8 billion to enter Uranium One in 2007. And that's a part of our broader strategy and end game. We'd like to ultimately sell the company to a larger uranium mining company or larger mining company. More recently, about a year ago, we brought in Joe Gallucci as a director, and Joe is the managing director and head of mining investment banking at Laurentian Bank. Joe brings a wealth of capital markets experience and expertise to the board. And that's something that we pride ourselves here at Skyharbour, is having a good mix of managerial experience, capital markets expertise, as well as focused technical expertise in the Athabasca Basin. Dave Bayard and Christine McKechnie are two consulting geologists. They've worked alongside Rick for many years, both of them ex-Cameco as well. Just quickly on the capital structure, you'll see 116 million shares issued and outstanding. This is, for us, a very important part of our story. We want to keep the capital structure intact. It's a part of why we have our secondary strategy or model, if you will, of prospect generation. It allows us to keep the dilution down while we focus our efforts at our flagship project, Moore Lake, and other projects that we own 100% of. Key here is that we now have about 9 million in the treasury in cash and stock. We've had a fair bit of warrants exercised recently. We've also raised some flow-through money, most of that institutionally placed, flow-through and hard dollars over the last 12 months. On slide 7 here, the notable and strategic shareholders, I draw your attention to that. You'll see just a list of more recently institutional and family office interests. And I think that that's going to be a key component for us and for other companies going forward, is to continue to see this money come into the space, and more institutional, more family office money. Also, at a $50 to $55 million valuation, I think there's incredible value proposition for Skyharbour, given the asset base. We're one of a few sub $100 million market cap companies that has 2 deposits, has a resource at our South Falcon Point project, and has high-grade discovery potential. We're not going into grassroots projects, drilling exploratory holes. We're following up on high-grade drill results from previous exploration programs. I'll skip ahead because we had that interruption. The next few slides here just cover the uranium market. I will just say with this new global objective of decarbonization, uranium and the fuel for nuclear power is going to be that much more important going forward. We all know that there is a looming supply crunch. We see on, you can see this slide 12 here, just showing some of the recent supply curtailment. I think we'll continue to see that in the backdrop of growing demand. You had about 123 million pounds of primary mine supply in 2020 in the backdrop of 180 million pounds. And there's just been severe underinvestment in the sector over the last 10 years post-Fukushima. So we haven't seen that new supply come online. There are obviously some great projects in the pipeline, but it takes time to bring these assets and these deposits online. And more importantly for Skyharbour and Skyharbour shareholders, we're looking to find that next generation of deposits to fuel the reactors of the future. So I think as an exploration, and in particular, an advanced exploration story, we're well positioned for this next cycle. I'll move ahead just to slide 17 here, and we can work off of this. So here you see the project portfolio that we've accumulated over the last, call it 7 or 8 years. One of the more dominant land packages in the Athabasca Basin. We have about 240,000 hectares, over 500,000 acres of projects scattered throughout the west and east side of the basin at various stages of exploration. They're all drill ready. And a key takeaway is we were able to take advantage of a depressed uranium market over the last, call it 7 or 8 years. We acquired this asset base for about 5 million Canadian in cash stock and exploration expenditures. At one point, our two main projects that we own 100% of, Moore Lake and our South Falcon Point project, were in a company that was valued at over 250 million in the last uranium bull market in 06, 07. So that just shows the re-rating potential that these two projects alone have. It's very exciting to have them in our portfolio along with several other projects. And this gets us into the second part of our model that we follow, the strategy that we have at Skyharbour, is a prospect generator. So we have 100% of our flagship project, which is Moore Lake. We just announced a 3,500 meter drill program commencing there shortly, but we also act as a prospect generator. We've brought in 3 partner companies, including industry leader Uranium, which is now a joint venture partner of ours at our Preston project over on the west side of the Athabasca Basin. Getting into Moore Lake, our flagship, really, it's the crown jewel of the company. This is a project that has seen a fair bit of historical exploration, and actually Dave came out with a report today that talks about this and the history there. As I mentioned, my head geologist, Rick Kazmersky, made the discovery, him and his team made the discovery at the Maverick Zone back in 2000, 4 meters at 10 meters at 4%, sorry, U3O8. And most of that mineralization that was discovered historically was found at the unconformity or in the sandstone. So not a lot of the historical hundreds of drill holes were drilled any deeper than the unconformity at about 250 to 300 meters. That's what's exciting for us, having taken this project back on. We acquired it from our strategic partner, Denison Mines. We own 100% of it. We are now going in there with some new techniques, in particular, some new geophysical techniques, and looking for these basement-hosted zones of mineralization and deposits. And we've succeeded thus far, in particular, in the last year with recent drilling that we've carried out at a new discovery, a new zone we found just east of Maverick, which we call Maverick East. We announced results earlier in the year, late last year, on a program that was primarily focused on the basement rocks at East Maverick, and we intersected our longest zone of continuous uranium mineralization at the project to date, 17.5 meters of 0.72% U3O8. So clearly we're on to something. We feel like we've just scratched the surface. We've only drilled about 10 or 11 holes that have tested these basement targets beneath this Maverick corridor. One of the other key features of this project is it is a big property. This main Maverick corridor is about 4.7 kilometers long. It's only been about 2.5 kilometers systematically drill tested, and very little drilling, as I mentioned, into the basement rock. So in addition to the extension or the remaining 2.2 kilometers that have not been properly tested, we are planning to test what's called the Esker target in this upcoming drill program. There are about a dozen other high priority targets, and one of which if you read our news on Monday, we talk a lot about. It's called Grid 19. This is a new target that we've discovered or we've refined with some new geophysics that we just completed, and it's at the intersection of 2 major conductive corridors, and this is about 10-12 kilometers northeast of this Maverick corridor. So a whole new area. There was a couple of historical exploratory drill holes that were put into this target, and they hit pretty good mineralization in just a couple holes, but we're looking to find something much larger. So Over the next several months, we've announced an initial 3,500 meters. I will say with $9 million in cash and stock in the treasury, we're well funded to substantially expand that and carry out several other drill programs. I expect this year will be the most aggressive year in terms of meters drilled at Moore Lake, and we are working towards a maiden resource estimate, which we expect to have out later this year or early next year at the project. Just moving on here. So the other projects that we have, as I mentioned, we do employ what's called prospect generation. We brought in 3 partner companies, one of which, Uranium, has just completed a joint venture at our Preston project. They now own 51% of the property, having completed just under $5 million in exploration. Another partner company just presented before us here, Azincourt, has just completed their earn-in of 70%, having spent several million in exploration and making cash and stock payments. They have assays pending, and they will be carrying out exploration going forward. More recently, though, we've just announced a new partner company, ASX-listed Valor Resources. Valor is a new entrant into the basin, run by a very strong geological and management team. The deal that we've struck with them is a 80% earn-in for just under $4 million in cash and exploration expenditures, and about just over 233 million shares of the company, which have been issued to us. The value of those shares has gone up significantly in the last few months here. Initially, it was about $1 million worth of stock. It's now well over 2.5. So we're happy to participate in any exploration upside at the project, but also as a very large strategic shareholder. And Skyharbour shareholders also get exposure, obviously, to the success of these other partner companies. I'll just quickly jump ahead because we don't have much time here. We do have a few other 100% owned projects, including our South Falcon Point project, which is host to a 7 million pound NI 43-101 inferred resource. Now with the money that we've raised and that we have in the treasury, we are looking to carry out a small program there later this year. So keep an eye out for news out on that program. Just to wrap up here, so recent milestones and upcoming catalysts. Come a long way in the last few years. We've built an incredible portfolio of top-tier exploration assets, in particular a few advanced stage exploration assets that have had a fair bit of historical work in exploration. Dominant land package. We are actively exploring our Moore Lake project, 100% owned Moore Lake project, with a focus on basement hosted targets. Keep an eye out for news flow on the drilling there, and this will be the most active year that we've ever had at the project. We really do feel like we're right on the cusp of another major discovery at the project. We have partner companies, Uranium, Azincourt, and Valor, actively exploring our other projects, or a couple of our other projects. And keep an eye out for additional joint ventures and options being signed here. We are in advanced negotiations with a few other companies on some of our other 100% owned projects, including South Falcon Point, Man Lake, and Urchison. So again, thanks everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties, get that sorted out here, but I'll hand it over for any questions.
Thanks, Jordan. Nicely done. I think you covered pretty much everything anyways. So you mentioned you're going to start focusing on the basement hosted deposit or mineralization. Do you see potential for basement hosted underneath Maverick, much like you're seeing underneath Maverick East?
Yeah, we do. And, you know, it's been poorly explored, although what we are seeing at the East Maverick right now is indicative of something much larger at depth. And you know, it's still, we're still learning a lot about this Maverick corridor. Again, most of the mineralization having been discovered in the sandstone or at the unconformity. So in all likelihood, we will continue to drill into the basement rocks below the main Maverick zone. But given what we're seeing at East Maverick, again, like I said, we feel like we've just scratched the surface, and we can clearly see the high grade mineralization continuing down plunge. So given that we're hot on the trail there, I think it makes the most sense to continue exploring that, testing that, and then we can move over back to the main Maverick or to other parts of that 4.7 kilometer long corridor.
Okay, and you mentioned a resource coming up maybe later this year or early next. Not sure you can answer this, but is there a ballpark target you're looking for?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I would advise people to go look at the report that you just put out. You know, we have back of the napkin estimates for it. I'd say that the exploration and drilling that we're doing this year has the potential to significantly add to a base case, if you will. Given what we've seen in particular with this last drill program at East Maverick. So I don't want to throw any numbers out there yet, but suffice to say that we think we can come out with a substantial number post drilling this year.
Okay, and this is probably your most advanced project, but do you plan to do any other work elsewhere in the basement?
Yeah, the Moore Lake is by far our most advanced project, over 40 million put into it and lots of drilling. But again, drilling really just focused in the sandstone at the unconformity at that Maverick corridor. The next most advanced stage would be our South Falcon Point, NI 43-101 inferred resource, and a couple, I'd say about 15 to 20 million that's been put in historically in exploration. Most of that resource delineation drilling though, so not a lot of regional exploration at the project. We will carry out an exploration program, likely a small drill program at that project later this year.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much, Jordan.
Great, thank you.